Another term you will hear in audio mixing for movies is underscoring. And that's when the music is underneath what's happening and it should be almost unnoticeable, but it's used to add mood. Very popular now in like the sci-fi world that or the horror movies, just that constant sort of drone sort of style. Um, where it's obvious is like dramas or romantic comedies that overuse it and have it, swell up at a dramatic moment. That's kind of, a style that I don't particularly care for. But and I don't really have an example of that on my own work. You could look that up on YouTube or whatever. But this is what I have to work with. So I had that obvious one with the commercial, and then this is the short film I made, which I've used before. And this is some music that I did underneath. So the beginning is I was looking for something. I created this music in GarageBand and did some sound effects. I'm not really a musician, but I dabble. I wanted something just very subtle and kind of creepy to sort of set the mood. So I'll play a little bit for you. And again, I will export this section for you to watch. But you can see it's underneath. Here's the music, is the green portion underneath. And I don't have it start until after I set until the story starts. So sorry for the creepy shot of like the animal skull, but it was like there, so we used it, and and then she kicks it, and it is a subtle way to start that rhythmic music. So I'm just building a little tension with that sort of little pulsating beat underneath. I'm It's really underscoring when you can still hear the ambient sound. I guess that would be the difference between what I was doing before with the incubate is that you don't even hear any other sound, you just hear the music. Here you hear the leaves rustling, her walking, the car door, and the music is just very subtly underneath. And then when the music stops, I don't want you to notice that I stopped the music. That would be a huge difference with underscoring versus the aggressive. Is that I'm hiding those edits. It's the theory being almost if you notice it, it's too obvious. So we don't want to notice anything. We want it to just all sort of meld together. So as you can see down here, I have my little pulsating beat, and then I have my little weird wispy sound effect coming in, and I sort of worked it all together here for a subtle, weird transition of space and time and action.
Don't. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to startle you. Sweet girl. I'm lost.
So you go back here, you see I ramped it, or potted it, or ramped it down. I want it to just disappear without even the audience noticing it. I want it to be the goal being that the audience is drawn into the story, and you're not even listening to the music. The music is just underneath and kind of creating an eerie feeling to the whole thing. And I just add my keyframes and I ramp it down. If you want it to be even, this is a technical thing, but if you want it to be even more subtle and have a more effective ramping, you right click on that keyframe and you get the Bezier or auto Bezier, and that puts a curve on it. Here's your curve, and then you can manipulate it even more so it's more of a subtle change in what am I trying to say, loudness.
Don't. I'm sorry. I didn't.
Basically, if you hear it, and if you're ramping music in or out of the scene and it's obvious, that's what you want to try and work on. You want it to be very subtle. Use the Bezier, ramp it up or down. You want it to be invisible. You want it to be not noticeable. Anything that's, if you want it to be noticeable, then make it noticeable. But if you don't want it to be noticeable, that's where the art of editing comes in. That goes for picture editing too, and the conversation editing, and the constantly putting cross dissolves on everything on the audio. So you're gaining up, gaining down, and hiding all that so the audience can get lost in the story. Again, I will export this just up to where they start talking. She pulls her mace out, and then you can watch it from there. So that's it. Very subtle. Very subtle underscoring.